Welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. A very weak hostage deal, largely negotiated over the past year by Biden and Tony Blinken, is on shaky ground tonight. Israel indicating earlier today that Hamas is trying to extort further concessions right here in the 11th hour. Hamas wants even more after getting 30 terrorists back for every innocent hostage that they stole from Israel. Now, while it's clear Trump's looming presidency is exactly why Hamas finally agreed, they are terrified of what Trump can bring to the table. It's also clear that this was a Biden-Blinken deal that Hamas is hurriedly trying to accept before Trump gets into office. And part of the reason it's been accepted by Israel is that the Biden White House has so effectively blurred the lines on who's good and bad in this fight. That's why Netanyahu has no choice but to take a deal that I'm sure he loathes, giving up 30 of those savages for every one person they get back. What this White House has done, as far as the optics of this war, is an unforgivable betrayal of Israel and the innocent victims terrorized and killed by rabid animals during the October 7th attacks. Last night, Joe Biden got on TV and bragged about this deal, a deal that only the leaders of Hamas should be proud of.
A hostage deal has been reached by Israel and Hamas, the elements of which I laid out in great detail in May of this year. This plan was developed and negotiated by my team and will be largely implemented by the incoming administration. That's why I told my team to keep the incoming administration fully informed, because that's how it should be.
What nobody can figure out is why exactly it took so long to make a deal in the first place when the West is just giving everything away. How did it take 400 days to get Hamas to agree to this? Why did it take a threat of Trump annihilating this terror group to get them to sign off on such a sweet deal? And the reason might be that Hamas has been spoiled by a strangely sympathetic faction in the West, the liberal elites and the media that represents them. Think about how this has all been reported on, especially for the last 6 months. You hear a lot about Gaza, don't you? Here's MSNBC casually reporting death toll numbers inside Gaza that were provided by Hamas. NBC News claiming that 46,000 people have been killed, and of course they were all innocent, right? That number could be off by 30,000, inflated by 30,000, could be inflated by 40,000. Nobody would be surprised at all. These are the numbers given by Hamas, and they're reported as fact by NBC News. This is just an example of what we've seen for the past year. For a year now, we've seen an outpouring of sympathy for the innocent inside Gaza, hoping that we forget that Hamas is elected in Gaza. Polls show most of the people inside Gaza have no problem with Hamas, and most of the people in Gaza would enjoy watching Israel and the United States completely destroyed. A quote here from a Palestinian in an AP News article, calling Hamas terrorists who put Israeli babies inside ovens his brothers. Today, Tony Blinken, who's consistently capitulated to anti-Israel demands, was called a war criminal by 2 different reporters because he's not pro-Palestine enough.
You helped destroy our religion, Judaism, by associating it with fascism. You waved the white flag before Israeli fascism.
We'll have the time to take questions
Your
at the end.
father-in-law was an Israel lobbyist. Your grandfather was an Israel lobbyist. Are you compromised by Israel? Why did you allow the Holocaust of our time to happen? How does it feel to have your legacy be genocide?
That was from a Jewish reporter, which is just perfect. The psychosis of the left, the self-hating Jewish man. These are obviously radical, lunatic reporters. That happened twice today. There was another moment when the guy had to be pulled out. Another guy had to be pulled out as well. But all the reporting on this war, when you think about it, has generally leaned in that direction, right? It's all leaned in that direction. It always leans away from the bad guy. The bad guy is Israel in this case. This is why the West's response to this war has been so shocking to those of us that can actually see good from evil. Makes no sense. And we'll see if this deal sticks and if Hamas actually sticks to it. They'd be pretty stupid not to at this point. There's only 4 days left. If not, though, they're going to have to deal with a real Secretary of State starting next week. We have no more Tony Blinken. When Rubio gets in, this is going to be a much different country on foreign policy. You can be assured of that. As America finally sees competence returning to Washington. Last night's Biden farewell speech was a perfect end to a terrible presidency. Rife with hypocrisy was the speech. Maybe the best moment, with Hunter Biden standing in the room, was Joe Biden lambasting the rich again, and again demanding that they pay whatever the hell it is their fair share.
We must reform the tax code, not by giving the biggest tax cuts to billionaires, but by making them begin to pay their fair share.
The man literally just pardoned his son for stealing millions of dollars from the IRS. Undoubtedly, a chunk of that money, those untaxed dollars, those corrupt untaxed dollars, unquestionably were fed to Joe Biden at some point. He's probably enjoying them in his retirement. The audacity to scold the well-off as many times as he has, and then pardon your son for tax evasion of millions of corrupt dollars that you helped him make. Can you imagine? Claiming half your paycheck isn't enough. Well, for the Bidens, it's 0% of their paycheck. What's your fair share, Joe? Love to know that number. Biden also claimed there's a dangerous oligarchy forming in this country, which is, of course, a knock at Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk, ironically, is spending billions of his dollars to free us from the tyranny of Joe Biden's political party. That's the dangerous oligarchy. Biden also knocked big tech, the industry manipulated by our intel agencies to lie to the American people and help install him in the White House. He's not very happy with big tech now because they didn't do that again. It's an industry that's now turning away from the dangerous American left and its fixation on controlling our thoughts and speech. Biden claiming free speech is the dangerous thing. We're only safe, of course, when his party is dictating the narrative.
Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation, enabling the abuse of power. The free press is crumbling. Editors are disappearing. Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit.
Favorite part was the free press is crumbling. You mean the propaganda arm that you've had for the last 30, 40 years that's told the story just the way you want it? That's the free press in their mind. They believe this. The rant about truth is amazing, and the dangers of misinformation came just 4 minutes. He said that just 4 minutes after he blatantly lied about the progress that his administration has made on violent crime. This moment here.
Finally, giving Medicare the power to negotiate lower prescription drug prices for millions of seniors. And finally, doing something to protect our children and our families by passing the most significant gun safety law in 30 years and bringing violent crime to a 50-year low.
Bringing violent crime to a 50-year low. Do you think violent crime in this country right now is at a 50-year low? Is this the safest that you have felt since 1975? This was the same lie that was told by debate moderator David Muir during Biden's debate with Trump. It was rapidly debunked, as the FBI has admitted that many jurisdictions in this country, some of the most dangerous in fact, are not reporting their crime stats to the Bureau. So in those places, the crime is coming up as zero. The National Crime Victimization Survey indicates violent crime has exploded, up something like 34% since 2021, as Democrat politicians have gutted police departments with their budgets and with their words over the past 4 years. But Joe Biden sits there, I should say, and tells you it's the safest we've ever been, trying to make you believe that this was a good presidency when this was a dumpster fire. You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt tonight on Newsmax.